If your hobbies include stamp collecting, nursing sourdough starters, or collecting gravel, you probably think the 2018 Hyundai Tucson is a very exciting car. The rest of us just see it as an affordable SUV. But I don't know if you've been watching the news, but the economy's been doing this while during the pandemic lots of us were doing something else, and we now have children, but not loads of disposable income. So in this video I want to find out if a 13 grand family SUV does everything you need from a family car, or if you should spend a little bit more. Let's go. If you're a proper car geek like me, you'll know this isn't the latest and greatest Hyundai Tucson, the one that looks like a spaceship. You'd have to spend 25 to 35 grand for one of those. You certainly wouldn't get one for 13 grand or 220 pounds a month, which is about what I spend on my hair products. And this is an entry-level S model as well, so you don't get any fripperies. You get small alloy wheels, big chunky tyres that should make it nice and comfy off-road, get LED daytime running lights, and that's about it. And this one's in white paint, so you can blend in with the UN convoy if you want to. The boot is another area where this old Tucson doesn't fare as well as the new Tucson, but it's by such a small amount that it doesn't really make any difference, because yes, the new Tucson's boot is bigger, but this is still a 503 litre space, or 1,500 litres when you fold the rear seats down, and frankly it's just going to be big enough for all your prams, tantrums and things that come with children. It's also got this handy adjustable boot floor which you can pop up like that, so you've got a deliciously flat load lip for wheeling your muddy pram in at the end of a walk around a National Trust car park in the rain, crying. Inside the 13 grand Tucson, you're not getting the IMAX twin screen cinematic experience of the new car, but do you really need it? I've got analog dials that tell me how fast I'm going. They work just as well as a digital screen. Now, because this is the entry-level S model, the infotainment system, yeah, I've seen more high-tech gravestones, to be honest, but it has got Bluetooth, so you can play your music through it, and there's an aux in down here as well, which is proper old school. But higher spec models get a big infotainment screen, which has got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto if you plug in, just like the new car. Yeah, it's grey, it's a bit drab in here, but there's loads of storage. I've got loads of space in there. I've got separate heating and climate controls. What more do you really need? Now, higher spec models come with things like heated seats, heated steering wheels, and automatic emergency braking, but for 13 grand, what more do you really need? If you've got your kids to do that in the back of the car, can you tell me your secrets, please? Because mine just won't. But anyway, there's loads of room in the back of a Tucson, even for a tall adult. I'm 6'3", that's my driving position. I've got loads of knee room, loads of foot room, loads of headroom, and actually decent shoulder room. And also the seats go upright and recline to your taste as well. There's not a big hump in the middle of the floor either, so your middle seat passengers can get comfortable. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward in here. There's no USB charging for your backseat passengers though, which might upset those of you with a Peppa Pig on a tablet addiction. The ISOFIX points are really easy to get to, thankfully. And yeah, it's a bit grey, but it's by and large fine for families. Oh, you've got decent sized door bins too. So far, I'm struggling to find anything really wrong with this old Tucson. It just does everything that you would really need it to. Now, we're about to take it out onto the open road and find out if it's still good to drive. But before we do that, I want you to go down to the comments and tell me which type of exotic fish you think it looks like. Right, we're going to go for a quick drive in the Hyundai Tucson. The first thing you notice is how easy it is to get comfy behind the wheel. You've got loads of adjustment in the steering wheel and in the seat, so you can find your perfect driving position really easily. And the view out is okay. It's only over your shoulder where you really get a big blind spot at the back of the car, but that is common these days on most SUVs. Now, the engines. I've got the old 1.7 diesel in this. It's a bit grumbly, but it's very torquey, and it gets about 55 mpg if you're careful with it. It got replaced by 1.6 diesel, which was a bit smoother. There's also a 2-litre diesel with a bit more power if you're going to do some towing. And then on the petrol side, there's a 1.6 petrol with or without a turbo, and you really do want the one with the turbocharger, just because without it you're thrashing it like a sports car and getting pretty bad fuel economy. It's comfy, it's reasonably economical, but it's also safe. It's got a 5-star Euro NCAP rating, admittedly from a few years ago, but it should keep you and your family safe should the worst happen. But anyway, it's enough about the way this drives. Let's head back to Motorpoint for a conclusion. So is a 13 grand Hyundai Tucson a good cost of living buy for a family SUV? Well, yeah, there's just no doubt about it. Sure, it doesn't have the interior drama of the new one. You're missing a few mod cons, but really, as a car that does it all quite efficiently and safely and spaciously, you can't really go wrong with it. I first drove this car when it came out back in 2016, and it was great then. And the passage of time hasn't made it worse. If you want a used SUV for under 15 grand, Tucson is probably your best bet.